To save Aunt May, Spider-Man sold his marriage to the devil Mephisto. Because of this, his daughter was never born. But if he stayed with MJ instead, his entire family would be traumatized by Venom. Here's what happened. Spider-Man kills Venom. Cut forward a few years. The Parkers have a nice apartment. Their wedding photo is hung up next to the picture of their daughter, Anna May. Peter and Mary Jane bicker about him trying to fix his web shooters at the dinner table. Even if neither of them are eating, it's distracting to Annie. The Parkers argue a little. I need to go out and patrol as a superhero. You just say that to get out of changing diapers. But they get through it quickly, sharing a hug and an apology. They even speak openly about their worries. At MJ's prompting, Peter reveals that he's been fighting more villains than normal lately, just like his fellow heroes have been taking time off. Mary Jane, annoyed, would rather the other heroes pick up Peter's slack so he can spend more time at home. Peter still has to go to work though, so soon enough he's off to the Daily Bugle to try and sell his pictures like normal. But J. Jonah Jameson can't buy them today. As Robbie Robertson explains, the mayor is trying to clamp down on rumors of superpowered heroes going missing. Ben Ulrich even shows Pete some information. Some of those heroes are ending up dead. Punisher, Moon Knight, and Night Thrasher are all gone. Other heroes with powers like Daredevil and Iron Fist have vanished. Something's clearly wrong. Looking for answers, Spidey swings over to Avengers Mansion. He is just in time for the briefing. The Avengers, New Warriors, and anyone else that's still alive have gathered for this mission. Captain America lays out what's going on. It's just like Spidey heard. Some heroes are dead. Some are missing. Most worryingly, all of the X-Men have mysteriously disappeared. Naturally, with all this going on, Peter's worried about his family. Iron Man suggests that he brings them to the mansion. It's designed to be a safe house when things get rough. Pete calls home to ask MJ about it. Mary Jane's unsure, stepping away to answer the door as Cap continues his briefing. A guy called Augustus Roman is their main suspect right now thanks to a report from Black Widow. Roman's company, Empire Unlimited, has been researching superhuman abilities. If he's been kidnapping people, the heroes can't take this lightly. Cap's calling in every hero he can to try and take Roman down. But Clint Barton chimes in over the comm to say he can't join them. There's been a breakout at Rikers Island, a supervillain prison. Hawkeye and his team need to deal with that. Captain America pulls rank though. Roman's the greater threat. They have to take him out first. They can round up the escaped villains later. One of his most dangerous villains was locked up in Rikers Island. If he escaped, Peter tries desperately not to think about it as he finally reaches his building. This villain knows his secret identity. The first thing they do is track him down. If they went to his house, found his family, there's a scream. A young girl's scream, coming from his apartment. Spider-Man crashes through the window, crying out for Annie. He doesn't care about the broken glass cutting into him. He just wants to make sure his daughter's okay. Unfortunately, she's not. Annie and MJ are both clutched in oozing black tendrils of symbiote goo as Venom lays back on the couch, running his tongue over Mary Jane's face. Daddy's home. Venom is grinning as he starts talking, acting like a family friend who just stopped by. Peter isn't in the mood to play games or listen to the villain though. Before Eddie can start negotiating, Peter jumps in with a powerful right hook. It's strong enough to break Venom's hold on MJ and Anna. Never hit someone like this before. Bones in my hand crack and shatter. And I don't care! Spidey follows up his first punch with a second, not giving Venom a second to think. He yells at MJ to run, to get Anna May out of there and away from Venom. Mary Jane grabs her daughter and sprints out the door as fast as she can. She's on the street in seconds, but Mary Jane pauses. What can she do now? The cops won't be any good against Venom. She needs real help to keep her girl safe. And for a moment, it seems to come. MJ spots the Avengers flying through the sky above. She calls out to them, yelling that Venom's attacking and she needs their help. But the Avengers just keep on going. They apparently have more important things to do. Specifically, they're heading off to fight Augustus Roman at Empire Unlimited. As they got close to a skyscraper tower with a strange glass cube on it, the villain broadcasts a message directly into their minds. Greetings, heroes. Welcome to Empire Unlimited. I've been expecting you. This is not good news. With Roman being able to access their minds telepathically, he could have a significant edge over the heroes. Still, it'll take more than this to rattle Captain America. Steve rallies the team as they keep going forward, pointing out that they've faced more than their share of world-conquering villains in the past. Roman isn't going to be different. The CEO is ready for the Avengers. He's standing in the glass cube, glowing with an eerie red light. He's wearing a high-tech battlesuit with a sunburst shield on his chest. He's not Augustus Roman anymore. He's Regent, and if the Avengers don't surrender their power to him, he's prepared to kill them all. Down on the ground, however, Mary Jane is just trying to work out how to keep her family safe from Brock. They can't just run, but Venom has two weaknesses: sonic damage and fire. With all the chaos hitting New York right now, a fire engine starts speeding down the street in front of them. With a quick hop, Mary Jane grabs onto the speeding vehicle, holding onto it with one hand and her baby with the other. But before the fire engine could go far, Venom busts through the outer wall of the Parkers' apartment. He is not going to let MJ get away that easily. Spidey's right on his trail, but pauses for just a second. In the distance, he can see bright lights at the top of the Empire Unlimited building. The Avengers are in the middle of their fight, but he swings away, going after MJ and Annie. He has to protect his family. The Avengers will be just fine without him there, right? In reality, the battle isn't going well for the good guys. Captain America goes for a shield throw, but it bounces right off Regent's telekinetic barrier. He yells at Quasar to try and overload it with a blast of pure force while he thinks of something. Cap has so many allies here. Vision or Justice might help them get through the barrier. But as Regent points out, it's useless. He could evade these attacks if he wanted. This is purely a show of force. He's just standing there, demonstrating to them that there's nothing even a combined team of superheroes can do to hurt him. He can adapt to anything, overcome anything. Hulk jumps up towards the villain, eager to put that to the test. Regent doesn't even flinch at the jolly green juggernaut coming toward him. All it takes is a moment's thought. And then, Regent catches Hulk's two hands with one made of steel. A casual glance at the Avengers' Quinjet reduces it to a smoldering hunk of scrap. Iron skin, optic blasts, Regent's got the power of all the X-Men, including teleportation, which he demonstrates by moving away and ripping the Hulk's arm out of its socket. He's not stopping here. He can harvest powers from the remains of dead heroes, and the Avengers have offered themselves up to him. This is now officially a Doomsday scenario. Back down on the street, MJ and Annie have finally reached the burning building. The firefighters, realizing that there was a woman on the back of their rig, try to restrain her. But then Mary Jane points out the gigantic shadowy figure that's swinging towards them. Even the firefighters are shocked by that, giving MJ the chance to get into the driver's cabin with Annie Mae. Venom bats the firemen away, charging straight towards the Parkers. He's finally caught up with them. He thinks they're cornered. But that's when MJ flips the alarm on the fire truck. The sirens blare out, driving Venom back with a scream of agony. Powerful sonic attacks like that have always been a weakness of the symbiote. Before the villain can rally, Spider-Man swings in with another powerful kick. MJ got Venom where Spider-Man needed him, right next to a burning building. With punch after desperate punch, Peter knocks Venom back towards the fire that engulfs this block. In no time flat, the two are brawling in the middle of a burning building. Peter's hurting, but he's not giving up. Venom taunts Spidey, pointing out that he knows about his kid. He's laughing, claiming that he's going to suck out the little girl's brains just to mess with Spider-Man. Is anyone still inside the building? The fireman confirms that no, it's all clear. After that, she yells out to Spider-Man, telling him that the building's empty. They're the only ones in there. Peter knows what she's thinking. Venom's clearly winded, but having a good time. Peter's never gone all out like this before. Venom's looking forward to more, but Spidey tells him flat out, never again. He rips out a support beam from the building. Rubble starts to fall all around them. Venom protests that he can't do that. That's not something Spider-Man would do. But it's too late. Spider-Man slowly crawls out of the burning wreckage. Peter thanks God for the sight of MJ and Anna Mae, who are still fine. Mary Jane asks him about Venom, and Pete admits that he did what he had to do. In the rubble behind him, a black claw reaches up before the symbiote goo finally falls away and the hand goes limp. That was the day the Avengers died, that Venom died, and Spider-Man died. He was still around, still wearing the costume, but he'd finally been forced to kill someone. There's one thing that outweighs his responsibility to be a hero: being a father. So as the Vulture flies over with a stolen purse, Peter helps his daughter learn to cross the street. Even in a New York City dominated by Regent, his family meant more to him than being Spider-Man. Protecting them will have to be enough. The Avengers are dead. Peter had nightmares about that fight for years, though. As much of a supervillain as Venom seemed that day, Eddie Brock struggled with the symbiote. The man under the suit would never want to harm Anna Mae, but he couldn't gamble with that. In the end, Peter killed an innocent man just to be sure his family would stay safe. For all that talk about power and responsibility, when it came down to it, Peter wasn't as different from his villains as he always thought. But for now, he has a civilian life to deal with. Anna May inherited her father's powers, and even asleep, she can use them to stick to the roof. Peter has to crawl up there to get her down and wake her up. Since Regent took down the Avengers, he's been using scans to find any superpowered individuals he missed in his initial takeover. Peter's built inhibitor bracelets for himself and Anne, but she's busted hers accidentally by doing this. Annie protests that a shadow thing was lurking under her bed. Even all these years later, her memories of Venom are still intact. She probably has nightmares about that day just like her father. Even if she almost blew their cover, the Parkers could never stay mad at their baby girl. Soon, they're walking her to school. New York's come a long way in the last few years. They've got flying cars. Even on the street, regular vehicles are using zero-gravity technology. It's almost enough to make you forget the giant Regent billboards everywhere. MJ and Peter talk about funding a new inhibitor bracelet for Anna May. Mary Jane will call her agent and try to get her some new roles. Peter's having a hard time with pictures these days, but he's confident that he'll find something. Anna May brings up his Parker luck, and Peter agrees with her. He loves his family. As far as he's concerned, that's enough luck for anyone. Pete takes off to try and get some pictures, leaving MJ to take their daughter to school. She has a few final words for Anna, laying down some parental discipline and telling her not to use her powers no matter what. Annie isn't happy about that, but the two share a final hug and part on decent terms. Meanwhile, Peter Parker, ace photographer, has found the action. A hero is confronting the Regent's goons. This is Dennis Dunphy, Demolition Man. An obscure hero, but a nice guy. Runs a support group for trans kids. And now, he's the only one left trying to rally the people to fight back against Regent's tyranny, even as his enforcers close in. Boomerang, Rhino, and Shocker are the law now. They're all trying to take down Dunphy, even as the hero screams at the crowd to do something, anything. Peter Parker snaps pictures as the fight keeps going. All he is focused on is trying to help Annie and MJ, not the life of a fellow hero. In the shadows, a pair of figures commentate the fight. These two are Aaron Davis, formerly the villain known as the Prowler, and Bobby Morse, better known as Mockingbird. They call into S.H.I.E.L.D., telling the agents lurking in a secret base that they've ID'd Dunphy and could get him out of there, bringing him back to join their operation. But their boss isn't interested. He's as cold and dismissive as Peter, not willing to risk his agents over a no-name like D-Man. If he can get out of this on his own, maybe. Otherwise, they'll let Regent have him. And one final blast is enough to bring Demolition Man down for the count. Rhino protests, but Boomerang tells the big guy to let Shocker take it. They need to bring their new prisoner back to Regent for a reward. Surely their boss will be happy to see they've captured a hero, right? He is beneath me. Regent's far from impressed. He's about as rude as the S.H.I.E.L.D. boss, calling D an appropriate grade for Dennis Dunphy and wondering why he even bothered waking up for this. He promotes Shocker to his elite guard and orders his guards to take Demolition Man down to Dr. Stillwell's lab for examination and dissection. Before the guards are done though, Beetle enters the room. She's working for Regent 2 and has a report. Their sensor sweeps have picked up a child with a high power rating at one of the city's public schools. Regent, no longer frowning, orders her, Boomerang, and Rhino to go get the child. He's already excited to know what abilities they'll have. Peter, meanwhile, has finally made it to the Bugle. These days, Jameson pays him to bury his photos rather than publish them. Neither of them is happy about this arrangement, but Peter needs the money. Unfortunately, while Jonah is trying to fetch it, the two hear a report. One of Regent's assault teams is heading towards Public School 122. Before Jonah can even turn around, Peter has bolted. That's Annie Mae's school. He doesn't have time to grab a costume. Pulling his hoodie up over his face, Spider-Man starts to run through the city. People gasp in amazement. Even without the normal suit, no one else can jump or walk on walls like that. He's got no web shooters, but with his powers, he can parkour like no one else. Mary Jane is running too, eager to do whatever she can. There's no way Peter can talk her out of helping their daughter. Over at Public School 122, everyone is running out of the building in fear. The students are screaming about a girl who had superpowers. But still within the school, out on the basketball court, we see Annie Mae, looking on with a glazed-over expression. The powers. All of the powers. Regent's goons hadn't found her. They found the Power Pack, a family of young superheroes. Katie, Alex, Jack, and Julie Power. They're Annie Mae's school friends. She's standing there amazed at all this time. They were just like her. Katie takes a nasty hit from Boomerang even while dishing out on an energy ball attack that sends Beetle reeling. The rest of the Power Pack charge in, determined to protect their sister. Anna wants to disobey her mom and get involved to help her friends. But before she can, the mysterious Spider Hoodie arrives. Peter tells the Powers kids to run, happy to keep his old villains busy to buy them and Anne time to get away. He brings Rhino down with one furious punch, impressing Annie. She's never gotten to see her dad in action before. Julie manages to help Katie get back on her feet. Alex and Jack are keeping Beetle and Boomerang busy. And now Mary Jane is here. She grabs Annie, hauling her away even as she tries to protest. Her father's in a fight. They need to help him, but MJ is having none of it. The Powers boys also want to keep fighting by Spidey's side, but Peter shuts that down hard. They need to run. If they don't, the cops will show up. Or worse, Regent himself. That's enough to finally get Alex to listen. Julie and Jack fly away, with Jules carrying their grounded siblings. They'll make it out of this somehow. Beetle makes one last attempt to grab Spider-Man, trying to put him in a chokehold, but a vicious right hook knocks her out cold. Later on, the three villains are forced to report back to Regent in total failure. There were 5 openly superpowered fighters, and these 3 couldn't even capture one. The Tyrant isn't happy with his team. Power Pack. Children. You were bested by toddlers. Tiny, mewling infants. Power Pack has stopped alien invasions in the past. Another supervillain, Arcade, uses robot duplicates of the Powers kids as his last line of defense. Plus, like Beetle pointed out, Spider-Man was the real problem here. He surprised them and bought the kids time to run. But they're ready for him now. Next time, they'll get him for sure. But these 3 aren't getting a next time. Regent really wants Spider-Man. He's not going to trust this to his B team. He's calling in his elite guard, his own incarnation of the legendary team of Spider-Man's foes, the Sinister Six. And it's a strong lineup. Shocker, we knew, but Regent's got Dr. Octopus, Vulture, Mysterio, Hobgoblin, and Kraven the Hunter on his team. All of them except Mysterio have Regent's split shield logo on their uniforms, with Kraven even having a tattoo of it on his shoulder. They're loyal, they're strong, and they're ready for the hunt. Back at their place, the Parkers are worried. Peter's convinced it's all over. Regent's forces know that Spider-Man's out there. They have to run. But Mary Jane's sharper. She's worried too, but she doesn't believe running will save them from a guy who can take down the Avengers. That's why she saved one of Peter's old costumes. Oddly, the black one. I guess MJ liked that look. Annie Mae freaks out at that, convinced that the black suit is Venom. She doesn't know what to make of it, but Peter reassures her. That monster's gone. A dad does whatever it takes to keep his family safe. Anything. And he's not the only one. Check out our video on Miles Morales' Future Children with Gwen.